It's the Sumo Show, and we mean it this time. The podcast discusses everything that's going on in Japanese Grand Sumo. Whether you've been steeped in sumo lore since the Heisei era like me, Stan, or you're a dedicated fan who wants to get deeper into what's happening on and off the dojo, like our good friend Troy, or you're brand new to the world of sumo and just want to learn what it's all about, no matter how much you know about the sport, the Sumo Show has something for you. So let's throw some purifying salt into the ring, do a few big Shiko foot stomps, and see what's new on this week's for real episode of the Sumo Show. So konnichiwa, everyone. And Okairi, welcome back to my co-host Troy.
Howdy do.
Howdy doody.
It is happening. It's real.
Yeah, fingers crossed that we actually get the show this time.
Yeah, we're going to pretend like we did it, even if it doesn't work.
That's right. We will hold our breath and stamp our feet.
Yeah. Hi, Stan. Happy Sunday on TV.
Happy Sunday to you. And happy, Nakabi, the middle day of the Natsu Basho.
Right. And what is this? This is our first show we've ever done on a Sunday, isn't it?
Probably, yeah.
There you go. See, we're breaking new ground.
We're always breaking new ground.
You may be curious, dear listener or watcher, wondering why we're broadcasting on a Sunday. Well, we had a conflict on Friday. I did anyway, and I had.
I wouldn't say. Yeah, we had a conflict.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. And so we moved to.
It was totally Troy.
It was totally me. But we moved to Saturday, and then we experienced. Comcast decided that would be the perfect exact moment. Frankly, the exact moment to disrupt your system that they would be working on so diligently.
It was incredibly good timing.
Yeah.
They really nailed it. I've got to applaud them. They did not start 5 minutes earlier than the start of our show.
That's right. And they started the trouble right on time. Not late, not early, just exactly when they said they would. And that's so kudos to them. And so we had to throw in the towel.
We tried, but I kept getting this. So So I said we can blame you for Friday, and we can blame me for Saturday, and we're both here Sunday.
But today we're both responsible for whatever happens now.
That's right.
It's our fault. In equal measure. But so Sumo Sunday. Why not?
Welcome to Sumo Sunday. Would you like waffles with your sumo?
That's right. Yes. Oh, maybe we do that. Maybe we do a live sumo show, but it's brunch.
A live sumo brunch?
Yeah. The sumo champagne brunch.
Nothing goes with sumo like champagne
and crispy bacon.
Oh, yeah. Lots of crispy bacon.
Biscuits and gravy.
Maybe some like a chocolate fountain and strawberries.
Yes. A fruit salad, a fruit display with 0 melon. I hate melon. I like watermelon.
You don't like cantaloupe, is what you're saying?
No, it is.
You don't like honeydew?
Oh. Honey, don't. No, it's caca. Right. No, I don't like it, but I do like sumo.
Good. Well, then let's stick to that.
Nice. That's a taste everyone can share.
You got melons on my sumo. So we're all the way through the first week. There are only 7 days left. We've had 8 days of sumo. And things are rolling along. We started to talk about this yesterday.
Yes, we did.
But let's talk about it now again because that video has been taken off and no one can see it.
That's right. We've banished it to the nether worlds of the internet.
How much of the tournament have you seen at this point? Because yesterday it was almost none, and we were saying before you came on the show that it's hard to try and catch that much up in a single day.
Well, so it's not. So here's my problem. Oh, thank you for putting me on blast. Is my problem? No, I'm kidding.
Huh?
My problem is that if I slow down to do something, one thing,
Yeah.
I inevitably wake up a half hour to an hour later going, what have I just experienced? So I will say this, while I might not have total recall of what I experienced as it relates to sumo, I
Right.
have experienced a good probably 70% of it, but much of it in a very deep sleep.
So,
So
sumo played near you.
that's right. And so
If
I
it's
would say that
possible to take sumo through osmosis, you are
yes.
sumoed up.
Well, no, I think that it influenced my dreams, and I had very intense sumo-related non sequitur kinds of
That sounds like
experiences.
fun.
So I didn't just watch; I was in it. I was
Wow.
it was in my dream world. So I I might be the best person to be speaking about this particular basho on the planet
Excellent.
because
Because you were just on the dohyo.
I lived it. Yeah,
You were on the dream dohyo.
I was I was on the dream doyo. Me and Hoshoryu having some talks.
Yeah.
Me just wanting to know what is up, Shodai.
Oh,
Like I've got some answers,
Shodai.
some questions answered.
Shodai.
Yeah, yeah. No, so yeah, so much of this I will be remembering as if a dream.
It's coming to me. It's coming to me.
That sounds very familiar, but yeah, was he wearing a clown suit? Yeah, it'll be like
Same as always.
that.
Did they replace his head with a sea bream? No,
Right.
that's just how he always
That's
looks.
right. Did he always have a sea bream head?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty much.
pretty much the unluckiest sea bream. Okay, well, yeah. So let's get into it. I what I one the before we were so rudely interrupted by Comcast.
Yes.
One of the questions that I had, we were getting into it, was about Hoshoryu's performance because this was an important one.
Yeah. I mean, it's his second tournament as a Yokozuna. The first one, he made a really big deal about he was going to be there for all 15 days, and then an injury kept him from doing that. But on top of that, in his first tournament as a Yokozuna, he gave up 4 Kimboshi. He lost 4 times to people who were Maegashira ranked Rikshi,
Yeah, yeah.
and which is not great.
And we did look up the where he ranks on the how many
Right.
Kimboshi had, and it's a
It's
very
he's on the chart already
yeah,
after only being a Yokozuna for 3 weeks.
that's rough. And it's a condensed yeah, so it's a short period of time with quite a few. It's not it's
It's not
it's
good.
not the best look. It's not the best
I
look.
mean, and yesterday, what we were talking about, and every time this comes up, I feel very strongly, or I felt, and I've made no bones about it on previous show that they probably should not have pushed him to Yokozuna, and it's not because I don't like him, and it's not because I don't think he's a terrific Rikshi. It's because there's a lot of pressure, lifelong pressure that comes with having that position, and he hasn't performed up to the level that once they slap that title on him, everyone expects him to perform at. And
Right.
right, it's not that he can't. Like he's had 2 tournaments where he did very well. Like
Yeah.
exceedingly well, like 13, 14 wins.
Right. And it doesn't do the optics of the whole scene
No.
much good for him to perform. So as I understand it, uh day one he won and then
He won on days 1 and 2.
yeah.
He beat Waka Takakage and Waka Motoharu. And then he lost to Oho and Abi.
And then
And then he won his next 4 matches.
that's right. Yeah.
So he's 6-2 now, which is not a terrible place to be.
Right.
But it's not among the leaders. Like he's tied for 3rd place right now. And like I say, the problem is that it looks very similar to the way he's performed most often over the
Yeah.
last 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Where he'll wind up with 3 or 4 or 5 losses by the end of the tournament, which, as we say, for almost anyone is great. Like that's what I always said, that's what makes him a super solid, really terrific Ozeki.
Yeah.
But the expectations of a Yokozuna is that they're going to get 12 or 13 wins almost every tournament.
It is pretty universal that okay, so there are a lot of people who are big fans of Hoshoryu, and I am as well.
Yeah,
He's a very entertaining and an un you cannot ignore the energy that he brings to, to the sport.
right.
But and I'll be honest, when you were sharing your concerns about Hoshoryu, at first I was kind of like, oh, come on. Come on.
Now
Uh,
he's got to live with it, and
Now,
I hate that for him. I hate that for him, right?
yeah, I do
Because
too.
he is still a really awesome rickshaw and a really really great to watch, but by just by getting that promotion, all the expectations and how everything he does is interpreted has changed.
Absolutely. And I do hate that for him as well because I didn't get it. I got it, I'll say. I just was so like, oh, Hoshoryu, he'll do the thing and and it's not again, not because he's not a remarkable athlete and not
Yeah,
because he isn't a major force for what makes today's sumo so interesting and full of texture and just tracking his facial features alone, his expressions at the end of a match and all that is a sport in its own right. But yeah, what a bummer. It is a bummer.
yeah, yeah. I think you once again you're learning.
Yeah, yep.
You need to listen to me.
Yep. Oh, yeah. No, no. I mean, and I agree. I mean, I definitely think that there are, um, you have an understanding of just sort of what sumo over a long period of time means to a sumo wrestler and to a rishi
And to
and
the fans, or
yeah,
how the fans are going to react to things.
yeah, absolutely. And and I would say that this is having seen various degree of weirdness, scandal and lies and thievery and all the crazy stuff that goes on.
Run
Wh-
secret
Yes,
organizations.
secret shadowy organizations in the background pulling all the strings. It This one is interesting because people are almost uh cringy about it. Like they're almost like, oh, like it's so such a bummer that they're not really talking a lot about it, but they're
Yeah.
like, it's sort of a thing that they acknowledge.
I think you know what? I don't think you know what I don't think there are. I don't think there are a lot of people who have it out for Hoshoryu. I
Yeah, I
don't think there's
agree.
a lot of people who are like, I hate that he got it.
No,
Dang it."
yeah.
There aren't haters. I think if anything, what there are the people who are like, God damn it, Sumo Association, why did you? I mean, of course he wants it. Right? Every wrestler, when they've got a chance for it, he wanted
They're
that
gonna go
promotion.
for it. Yeah, yeah.
He wanted it, and who blames him for that? Of course he does. That's the nature of that. But the Sumo Association, who is supposed to be looking out for the good of the sport, I think their panic over we won't have a Yokozuna uh, um, is really what made them come down on the side of giving him the promotion instead of saying, do it one more time. Come on, really win 2 in a row.
Yeah, right, right.
Um,
Well, I have a question for you, and I don't wanna belabor this point, but I also need to, and I think it's
yeah, no,
good
it's fine.
convo. Um, what what are some alternative scenarios that we could imagine? Let's say if like, is one of them wait for Hoshoryu to really demonstrate? Is it wait till a Yokozuna heir apparent appears, or you're like,
I
what's the
think I think that um, my personal opinion
yeah.
is that what they should have done is really kind of gathered around the. The thing is we've just come out of an era where we had who may be the greatest Yokozuna of all time, certainly someone that broke all the records, followed by a guy who was super dominant despite having had, a injury that nearly took him out of the sport. He came back and still was super dominant.
And wasn't that his fighting?
And that being a Yokozuna means not just being the best of everyone that's fighting. It means being among this class. Like there have only been 76 or 77
in the thousands of years of sumo. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that gets a little weird because it was only invented in the 1800s. But yes, there have only been 70 some odd.
Yeah.
So rather than saying we've got to have one, let's reshape it and create the mystique about it. So and then say, the rules are that you need to win 2 tournaments in a row or do something of equivalent value. And let's not maybe in the 90s they turned the difficulty up too high.
Yeah.
I think with this they've turned it down just it's not too low, but it's just on the edge of too low. It's as low as it can be. And again, I really think it was their panic about potentially having a not just a tournament, maybe 6 or 8 months with no Yokozuna,
more,
right? Because it's hard to do. It's hard to win 2 tournaments in a row.
And the other thing about this, I agree with you. The other piece of this is that it seems to me like there's that X factor of deciding when someone really won. Did they really win that match? Did they really? I mean, the X factor of like, they just didn't quite deliver, or they had the fighting spirit, and it's that, I don't know. I'll say the umami of it all. That thing the taste when you taste it, the sight when you see it, and they clearly they must have.
I mean, Hoshoryu won the tournament that he won. What did he have? 11 or 12 wins? I don't remember what he had when he won that tournament, but it was not a he had one tournament where he had 13 wins. And it was the first time as a Maegashira level wrestler that he had 13 wins.
Yeah.
That needs to be the standard. He needs to be doing that every time.
Right.
And so then they said, okay, we'll count that as a win because it's good enough to be a win. So have another win and we'll promote you. But his second win was a really weak win in as far as overall performance. Everyone didn't do terribly well. He won the tournament with 11 or 12 wins. And that's how and they said, okay, yes, you won. Up you go.
You passed the test. Yeah.
And, I don't know. Again, it really feels like once the conversation is going that I'm bashing him.
No, it doesn't. No, it really doesn't. And I think that's clear. I mean, we definitely, and we that's kind of the way we approach sumo in general, that, when we start sounding hypercritical, we take a pause to say, let's also remember that these are world-class athletes and,
right. And not only that he is one of the best in the game right now.
Yeah. And I think what you're hearing from us folks who are listening and watching is it is unfortunate. I hate that for him, that he's got to bear this burden of not quite being the thing when he is a thing in his own right, that gets upstaged by, not being at that level.
And I'll tell you, coming back to looking at this tournament, one of the other things I hate for him, like say he is 6-2, which is a fine place for him to be. That could wind him up with 12 wins, which would be fine. I don't think he'll get there, but he could. But while he's doing that, Onosato is actually looking really Yokozuna-like. He's coming out and just crushing everyone and not breaking a sweat. And even in winning, Hoshoryu's style is to break a sweat. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he's having trouble, but he always looks like he's working hard because he's always working hard.
That's right. Yeah. That juxtaposition is another key piece,
and
and
it's killing for him. I mean, it's just that's what I worry about most for him is how it's gonna hit his psyche. This I'm in the Yokozuna, but everyone's everyone's cheering for Hoshoryu, and look at him dominating, and all they can do is complain about me.
Right. And here's the other piece of this too is the cultural sort of tiptoeing around, the bad stuff and sort of creating euphemism to communicate it. This is a rough one. This is especially, I mean, great for Onosato. I mean, like that is it is a wonderful place for someone who is really showing some talent to blossom and bloom in front of everybody.
Blooming.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. So great conversation. I appreciate it. It just
no. I mean, that's what we were starting to talk about yesterday when when Comcast decided that we shouldn't talk about it.
Right.
I think NHK got to them.
That's right. That's right. Let's hope not. Jeez.
Oh, I said the word. I said the word.
They're gonna repel from the ceiling, drop in with wearing their tack gear, and take you out.
So if I switch over here, we can look at this is the Hoshitori. This is the Banzuke with the current scores listed on it. So it doesn't rank them in who's winning. They're the rank they are on the Banzuke.
Got you. Are they also, is this to date?
This is through day 8.
Day 8, yeah.
We can see Hoshoryu is 6-2. Onosato is 8-0. Let's talk about Onosato first.
Yeah, let's.
He having won last tournament, he's also in that position of if he wins this tournament, he could get promoted. I'm just thinking about what could have happened if he came out and was having a tournament like last time where he stumbled around a little and then found his footing at the end and won, but it was in a playoff that he needed a bit of luck to get into.
Yeah.
And if that had happened again, given how they promoted Hoshoryu 2 months ago, they'd have to promote him, and that would just look terrible also.
That's
so I'm really glad
way to look at it. Yeah.
He's doing so. He's coming out and looking so strong.
Yeah.
I think that he's got 7 matches to go. He's in the lead, and anything could happen. He could have a terrible week 2. God forbid he could get an injury. Anything could happen. But right now, if he just has a strong week 2, he's going to finish with 13 or so wins, and he will have won his second tournament in a row, and he'll probably get promoted. Now I'm looking a lot down the line, but I might have before all this. I might have said that I think it'd be good for him if he didn't get promoted so quickly.
Yeah.
Right, because he's only 24. He's only been in the game. If he gets promoted, he will have the fastest rise to Yokozuna from entry into sumo that has ever happened.
Yeah.
So, which is, great. It's a record for him. But again, as we've been saying, the thing about getting promoted to Yokozuna is there's a lot of extra baggage that goes with it, and you can't unbag it.
Right. Yeah.
But given where things are at, I really hope he does it and gets promoted. I think it will settle a lot of things down.
I think that, I was going to ask if that's the world we have to look forward to, that Onosato would get the promotion, and it would be hard to deny.
Yeah. If he wins, if he legitimately wins 2 in a row and doesn't have 2 winning level performances, given that they just promoted Hoshoryu, they have to promote him. Which
they'd have some face saving to do if they didn't. It would be very, they have a lot of the sun dancing upon the waves talks to have to shovel out to explain it. Yeah.
it wouldn't wash. They do occasionally just paint themselves into a corner, and they've painted themselves into this corner.
Yeah.
But I think that he is going to make it easy on them by being dominant
Being a great,
the whole time,
continuing.
and it'll be very easy to give him the promotion. We'll see. 7 days left. As I say, anything can happen.
And that's the truth, honestly. That is another thing that I'm come to terms with, and that is sumo's gonna sumo.
Right. I just think of, I'm now immediately thinking about Teruno Fuji, Takeru Fuji. Sorry.
Yeah.
And how he came. I mean, that was just one tournament, right? And so no one had any great expectations. But then he had that terrible injury on day 14, and look what happened there. I mean, there is no one in the game that is not living under the shadow of that. Right? That kind of injury could be around the corner for anyone, and so take nothing for granted.
That's right. That's right. Just buckle up and get ready for a ride. Yeah.
I mean, let's look at if Teruno Fuji had been slightly better when he was in 2015, 2016, when he was on his first run, when he got promoted to Ozeki for the first time, and he was looking like a Yokozuna candidate for sure. And he had the massive knee blowout.
Yeah.
He had to get surgery on. It dropped him all the way down the Banzuke, and he had to fight his way back. If he had already been promoted to Yokozuna, if he had done better 2 tournaments previous to that, he would have just been out, because you don't get to have that kind of time and the ability to go back down to the bottom and build yourself back up once you're Yokozuna.
Yeah.
Yokozuna, if you have a problem like that, your career is just over, period.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Very interesting. Yeah, I find myself thinking about other kind of alternative scenarios of, what would a world look like with a Tobizaru, Yokozuna, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tobizaru. It's the flying monkey regime.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Anyway.
All right, so let's see what else is going on here. So Hoshoryu, we've talked about are Hoshoryu and Onosato.
Right.
We've got another Ozeki who's not having as good a tournament. Kotozakura is 5-3, which is not bad, right? Certainly on we always say, right, you look at how you've done and imagine what you'd do if you did the exact same for the next part of the tournament. All right, so at 5-3, if he were to do exactly the same, he'd get his 10 wins.
Yeah.
He's in a position to get 10 or more wins, which is what an Ozeki is supposed to do. It's not what an Ozeki who wants to win his first yusho is doing.
Right.
And he's looked a little stumbly. In fact, we talk about Hoshoryu a lot with performing the way he always has. Kotozakura, in the second half of last year, was performing better than he seemed to have overcome all the habitual problems he had, which kept him from getting promoted to Ozeki. He was someone who was in the top Maegashira and just couldn't seem to make that next step. And he did, and he got his promotion. He's making the same kinds of mistakes again, and I think it would be unfortunate if he dropped back down to that level. What we'd have is someone closer to Shodai, in that he would have Makekoshi's once or twice a year, which is not as bad as Shodai was doing. But
right.
Certainly it would. I'm blanking on some of the Ozekis in the about 10 years ago. Nope, blanking on his name, but he had the same kind of thing. Goedo was one of them, but there's the other guy I'm thinking of. I can't pull his name off the top of my head. But they were Ozekis, and they were very good, but they weren't they almost never were in the running for the yusho, and they were getting 10 wins or so. But a couple of times a year, they'd have a really bad tournament, and then they'd be caught up on. But they'd come back and do it, and then you wouldn't hear about that for a while. Shodai, the problem we had with him was he would Makikoshi, Kachikoshi, Makikoshi, Kachikoshi.
Right. That's right.
Oh God.
Yeah, the yo-yo of shame. Yeah. Well, so looking at or thinking about our buddy Kotazakura.
Yeah.
I find that there is similar conversation about his performance as where you will find in some dark corners of the internet people talking about our buddy the Lucky Seabream. But it's like wondering if it is physical, is there some kind of a mental block, is there some kind of like what is happening here, because he's just not performing as well, and people are unsure. But like what I wanted to understand, I don't know if you know about this, but when he opted for a regenerative surgery, what does that mean versus
I don't know the details about what kind of procedures he had.
Yeah, so he suffered like you said, his left knee blowout was serious, but I just don't know what regenerative means, and maybe it sounds to me like he's it's a constant sort of thing that he's got to tend to.
It
I don't
could
know how
be.
you
I mean, I don't. Again, I'm about to say something, and I have no idea if this is even a thing. But it sounds like from what you're saying, is a difference between if you're going to go in and get your knee scoped, where they scrape off, right, some loose cartilage. It might be a procedure where they actually build up, inject something that's supposed to be.
In just a cursory glance, they're talking quite literally about replacing, engineering, or regenerating human tissue using it's like stem cell stuff.
Yeah, well, that would be great if it worked.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd want that. I'd want that for my knees.
Yeah, I'd want that for everything I got. Bring it on. But yeah, this is I guess it's interesting to hear people talk because they are bummed out that he's again.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think part of it is he's, as we were just talking about, right? He's had an injury which he doesn't have the time to take off to heal, so it just keeps nagging him.
Right.
But on top of that, he, like I said, he had a really good 6 months, and we're hoping that that's his new level. But it may be that it was just he was performing better than he was performing as good as he can, and now he's back to performing as good as he usually does.
Yeah. I'm looking at some reactions, and something that is very interesting to me, and so Japanese, is somebody says that his problem is that he has too much hinkaku, and that he's very serious.
Yeah.
He doesn't go out, he doesn't party or go out with friends. He's very serious, just like his grandpa.
Yeah, who's a former Yokozuna.
That's fascinating to me. Just the notion that there is that I'm not sure what do you know what hinkaku? Oh, dignity, grace. Okay. It's a person's demeanor, ethical standards, and the overall impression they project. So he is too serious.
Yeah.
Huh. I mean, I'm just, Reddit is Reddit, and people with opinion, but it is funny because this is a family affair as well. I have to imagine that expectations loom.
Right. Well, I mean, already his father was an Ozeki.
Yeah.
And his grandfather was a Yokozuna, and
there's
been a lot of pressure on him, and from the family and from himself to try and get back the Yokozuna for the family.
Yeah.
And so when he came up the Banzuke and got to the top of Maegashira, the expectation was he's going to keep going, and he kind of had that ceiling thing that we talk about a lot. He kind of leveled off and was only a top Maegashira reliably. And every
Right.
time he had a shot to get into Sanyaku, he stumbled a little bit. And a lot of times that is a little mental and a little physical. It's mental in that you've got to figure out how to make yourself better.
Yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. And there is some pressure that I think it's important to at least factor in to some degree the family, the lineage of it all.
Yeah.
And then I just read that there's a former Yokozuna Waka Nohana
Yeah.
has criticized him harshly on TV as being too fat. That's wild. It's just there's a part of me, you and I tend to err on the side of respectful inquiry and
Yeah.
concern, and you've got pundits on the from all over, including a former Yokozuna saying, "Hey, fatty," like this is so rude.
Yeah, well, I mean, that may also be a translation. He may literally have said that, and it may not have been said
In that
a
way.
way that comes across like that.
Got
But
you.
I think that I tell you, I look at him and I think he is. He's a little too soft. He's too much weight and not enough
Yeah,
muscle,
grab. Yeah, not
right?
enough. Yeah,
And that weight, I think, might have been part of what helped him make a push, but it's also holding him back. I think. That's totally my wild take on it. I
yeah.
would like to see him a little bit trimmer and a little more rock hard
Yeah.
underneath that pillowy exterior.
I was just gonna say the word that they're using is pillowy. Fans, they say he's doing great and he's a big pillowy boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, and that's a look that is well beloved in the sumo world, but it's not always the best thing for everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, eh, but I mean, I don't know. Look at him. I think it's an apt word for how he's looking these days.
Yeah, no, he's definitely looking, yeah, pillowy. Yeah,
Anyway, so yeah, hope is that he will do well here in the second week, and he'll wind up with 10 or more wins, and that'll be great. In Sekiwake, our two Sekiwake went head to head on Sunday.
oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, they were both 5-2, Daisho and Kirishima, and
Well, Daisho.
Daisho clearly wanted it more. And Daisho is on trying to get a Ozeki promotion. There's another one. If he can get 13 wins, he might get the promotion. He will have his 33 wins over 3 tournaments. But 13 wins is a lot, and right now he's right on the bubble of that, right? If he doubled everything he had, he'd be 12-4 and going into day 15 needing one more win.
Very
So,
interesting. Do you see that the lowering of the bar having a ripple effect as it rolls down?
I don't know, not really, because every other rank
Yeah.
is if you win, you go up. If you lose, you go down. With the one exception of Ozeki, which you know, if you're a weak Ozeki, you're a pain in everyone's butt, and
Sure.
fools like us root for you to drop out.
Right. Right.
But there's not much you can do to change that status quo of right. If you win, you'll go up. If you can't win, if you can't have a kachikoshi, you'll go down.
Right.
Doesn't matter what happens with the yokozuna. I say really for the purposes of the people in that slot, I think it's advantageous to them for all the reasons we were talking about yesterday.
Uh-huh.
Hoshoryu I guess I need to say it again because we talked about it yesterday and it's gone. Hoshoryu's problem, I think, or one of the problems he has to face right now, is that because he doesn't have the Yokozuna mystique about him, because he has over the last 2 years been there near the top and he's lost 4 or more matches at almost every tournament. People who are ranked in that level of upper Maegashira or Sanyaku think, all right, I can beat him. Not every day. It's not like I'm not afraid of him.
Yeah.
I can beat him. And so the thing that the great Yokozunas and even the modestly good Yokozunas have is that they're Yokozuna. Like they're gonna win 13 or more, and you've got to get a lucky break to be one of the people that will beat them over that tournament.
And at this level, that kind of
mental shift is huge.
Yeah.
So I think that Hoshoryu is facing people who are coming in rather than coming in with trepidation, they're coming in with confidence.
Right.
It just makes it tougher on him.
Right. Yeah, it does. It does because honestly, that Sumo does a great job of sort of highlighting that fighting spirit, that thing that the thing that changed it for for a wrestler and made it that they were able to summon that thing, and and Hoshoryu's kind of given a lot of people more fuel for that.
But and the thing is, I mean, there's certainly the argument of, well, that's no different than it was before he was made Yokozuna, which is true. They're coming in with the same attitudes they had when he was Nozeki. But the difference is that A, he's under more pressure to beat them, and B, they have the added bonus of, if I beat him this time, I'll get a Kimboshi.
Yeah.
And that's great for my whole career. Now I've really got something to fight for.
That's right.
I think I can do it.
Yeah, and they're getting when that happens, they're getting more money, right?
Yeah.
Like that's not just the honor of
their appearance fees go up for the rest of their career.
Yeah, that's
their appearance and their bonus fees go up for the rest of their career.
So basically, everyone's looking at Hoshoryu like he's some kind of a Mario coin block or something. And you're
I just want to jump up and hit him a few times.
Just punch him a few times until a star comes out. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So Daisho did win today. Kirishima now 5-3, same position Kotozakura is. Although Kirishima also trying to get a promotion back to Ozeki, so he needs to get 11 wins. He's just starting a potential
run up to the
run. I mean, which means he hasn't really started one yet. He just says he wants to, and then that's his aim. And so he needs to win 11 or more bouts for 3 tournaments in a row.
Yeah.
So at 5-3, the same thing as Daisho. Despite the fact that they're a win different, they're both kind of in the same boat. If you double what they've got right now, he'd be 10-6. That's not right, is it?
Well, that is dope. I'm no mathematologist, but
anyway, chances are, with the way the math is working out, he's right on the bubble where if he gives the same performance, he'll be coming into the final day where a win will get him what he wants and a loss won't get him what he wants, which of course means he gets invited to my house. But
that's right. And it makes for some good sumo. Yeah.
But you want to, as the person doing the wrestling, you want to give yourself an edge. You don't want to be living on that razor thin margin.
Yeah.
Takayasu not having such a great tournament, not so terrible. I always say Komusubi is the hardest level, the hardest rank of all, because of you have to start your every tournament fighting the top guys.
Yeah. This is right where this is that rock polishing, sort of.
But Takayasu, I also always say but so if you come through the first week with 2 or 3 wins, you're doing okay, and that just means you've got to be strong in your second week.
Right.
So being 2-6 is not as bad as it normally would seem here on day 8. But I mean, Takayasu is another guy who had publicly said that he wanted to get his Ozeki rank back, and he said he wanted to do it by the time they go to London in October. And
that's right.
now that's out. He cannot do it with this record unless he
mathematically, right?
Well, I mean, if he wins all 7 of his remaining matches, yeah, he's still only going to have 9 wins. So he would have to get 13 or 14 wins for 2 tournaments in a row in order to hit there, and that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But Takakage is
Look
7-1.
Wow.
He's one
Okay.
of our second place guys. So
Yeah.
He's fighting trim. He's coming in hard.
Good for him.
Now here's the thing: we're going to go and look at our Fantasy Oyakata
Yes.
in a bit. And honestly, we've been talking longer than I thought we were going to.
Well, that's what we get for not talking about sumo for
Right. That's what we get for taking a whole week. But if we look at this, when Maegashira 1 through 5, the scores are 3-5, 3-5, 4-4, 1-7, 2-6, 3-5, 3-5, 4-4, 2-6, and 2-6. So the best scores in the upper Maegashira right now are 50-50 at 4-4.
Okay.
And everyone else is in a position where, they would be Makikoshi if their second week goes the same as their first week. Everyone in the upper Maegashira. I did not have that on my bingo card.
No, yeah, no,
We were looking at this pre-tournament thinking, a lot of these guys could do good.
Yeah.
We weren't looking at it going, all of these guys could do bad.
Because we have hope. Yeah. We're looking for silver linings.
Right. So, not looking good. Takeru Fuji 3-5. That's a little surprising to me. Ichi Yamamoto at 4-4 I didn't think he'd be doing that well. Go Noyama at 1-7. 1-7. Go Noyama. Come on.
Ouchie.
All right, so let's look down. Tobi Zadu's also 4-4. Oshomo's 5-3. Hakuoho coming back, looking really strong. He just lost on day 8. He got his first loss of the tournament today.
Really, that's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
No, he was looking dominant in the kind of way that you want him to, in hopes that he will be. A year and a half ago, we thought that he and Onosato were going to be at the top, ruling sumo as the young guns.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then he had one of those injuries we were talking about, and he's fighting his way back. To this tournament, the first 7 days, he looked like the kind of guy that I would have those dreams about again.
Nice. Yeah.
So hope is that it was a tough loss. It wasn't a bad loss. And that if he bounces back and has a second week like the first one, he could still be in the mix for the yusho, and we could be talking about that possibility again.
That's very interesting. There's not a lot of chatter about the guy right now, as far as but this is great. Yeah, I mean, this is a great place for him to be. That's really fun.
Chunanomi's 1-7. Onokatsu's 4-4, Kim Bozan 6-2, Aonishiki, who I know you picked for your.
I did indeed.
He's 7-1, and he's had some wins that I didn't think he had in him, and he's looking really strong.
Well, I had this vibe, this feeling that the Ukrainian boys were going to do some stuff, and I was half right.
One of them, you're right about one of them.
Half right. Is really just shades of wrong.
When we look down to Maegashira 11, we see that although Aonishiki was 7-1, Shishi is 1-7.
I'm just going to be calling him Sheesh.
They made him stop wiggling his butt, and he doesn't know how to fight.
I knew that was what they corked his magic. He's all corked up. Thanks.
Who else have we got? Oh, Midori Fuji 0-8. He's just looking like he can't figure out what's going on.
Oh boy, that's a real yuck. Yeah.
Shodai's 3-5. Of course he is.
Of course he is. Not
The only times he's won have been times when I really needed him to lose.
That's so true. Roga's
doing good at 6-2. Tommy Fuji's doing all right at 5-3.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, that's how things are looking here as we head into week 2. And I tell you what, I was saying this to you yesterday.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of days with lots of really good sumo. And some tournaments where there are a lot of very quick, uninteresting matches, and they're not. It's not that no one's trying, but things have to work out a certain way, and then people have to dig in to get super exciting matches. This has been a tournament where there's been a lot of that. There's been
so dynamic and interesting, unexpected, which sumo generally proves to be. I still think of the last bar show when we're just like, you guys picked who? Swept it, but yeah, very interesting. I do have to say I'm very curious about what's going on with the Fantasy Oyakata. We didn't get as many people who signed up this time around.
We only had 4. So you wanna jump over there?
Let's do that. I'm curious.
All right, so come over here and we get
I like my chances with the
where's your did you not put in your Fantasy Oyakata?
Oh, did I not? Wait,
it's just me on the screen now.
Fantasy
All right, so I'm going to replace that with this. And nothing happens. You got to switch my face up.
We'll go back
there
here.
We go.
That's it. We just had to switch back.
All right. So we were looking at our Fantasy Oyakata game here. We had 4 people send in entries this time, and you and I are 2 of them.
That's right. Well, hey, sometimes it's an ebb, it's a flow.
Right. And one of them is Masutarida, who won the tournament last time.
That's right. I'm very curious to see how well they performed in this Basho.
All right. Well, let's look at the best possible now. The best possible is if you picked Onosato at the champion level, who's 8-0, and Wakataka Kage at the Sanyaku level, 7-1. And Abi here again, Maegashira level. The best person is 4-4. And Abi, it's just Abi because there were several 4-4 Rikishi, but Abi gets a 1 point special for getting the Kimboshi.
Oh,
because he beat Hoshoryu, he is leading that section. At the middle Maegashira, both Hakuoho and Aonishiki are 7-1. And at the lower division, Roga and Asakoryu are 6-2.
I do like that look for Roga for sure.
Yeah. Good to see him doing well after all this time.
Yeah. It was a little early picking him in some of our prior.
Yeah, we were excited about him. He needed some time to grow.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. We've got four spots. So down at the lowest spot right now, we have Okada. This is my friend Mark, who has 14 points. He picked Kotozakura, which we said not a great pick. Takayasu, not a great pick. Uda, not a great pick. Chuda Naomi, not a great
good one. Yeah, wow.
And Takanosho, who's even. That's his best Rikishi. I'm sorry, Mark. I'm just totally Disney here on live on the internet, but that's how it goes.
Kind of picked all the bad ones in the middling one.
So 14 points is the bottom rank. Next up, we have
okay, all right.
22. That's pretty good.
I felt good about that. It's not bad.
Right? Hoshoryu 6-2, Daisho 6-2. Tamawashi too. Tamawashi's not having a great tournament.
No, I know. I think you might have even said Tamawashi.
Yeah, I think I did.
Yeah.
Alan Nishiki, who's 7-1.
Thank you, Aonishiki.
And
Sheesh.
sheesh. So yeah,
Really tanking me, she.
All right. So next we have. Oh, let's have it just do these two. If I uncork those, we can see the next two someone's got 28 wins and 12 losses. Someone's got 27 wins and 13 losses.
Wow, that's pretty much neck and neck.
And someone has a special point.
Interesting. Okay.
So it's a 1 point difference, but actually it's a 2 point difference because of Hoshoryu. Someone's got 29 and someone's got 27.
This is an upset.
And our people are
that's
Masutarida in the lead again.
I think I got to sit down with Masutarida and have a conversation about how he's picking and what his kind of theorem is and all the complex.
Masutarida picked Hoshoryu.
Yeah.
So did you.
Yeah.
Masutarida picked Daisho. So did all three of us. Masutarida picked Abi.
Okay.
Which is where he gets his special. Abi's only 4-4. But I picked Takeru Fuji, who's 3-5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah. So there's our 2 point difference right there. Right?
I see it. Yeah. Yeah.
And then he picked Aonishiki and I picked Hakuoho. Both of them are 7-1. Look at us going there.
That's right.
And then he picked the Tommy Fuji and I picked Shonan Naomi.
I almost picked a Tamafuji. I just couldn't. I agonized over this.
You know what? I almost didn't take Shonan Naomi because he was hurt last time. And
that's right.
No, he's better. He is not better.
Yeah. The other thing too is I really just thought that there would be a kind of that both Shishi and Aonishiki would like they would together rise into the ranks and it would be a great narrative and all that, but that's not coming to fruition.
You put your money where the narrative is. It's not.
I know. I'm a romantic.
So here's the funny thing: we're looking for the yusho. We picked the same.
Look at me,
our yusho winners.
Wow.
So yeah, if we wind up tied, it's going to go to tiebreakers.
Yeah. Oh, Hoshoryu, why?
Yeah, so Shonan Naomi.
Ay.
This lower Maegashira is where our fight is going to be decided.
Yeah. Well,
so that's where things stand here. We got
congratulations to our a winner who's still winning.
It's only halfway. This is a halfway point.
I'm still saying congratulations.
It's only 2 points ahead.
He earned the spot.
Anything could happen.
Anything could happen. That is true, but he has earned his station.
Yes. Oh no. Looking great.
Well, the other thing is, nobody can beat the true champ of the Fantasy Oyakata.
Well, I don't know. When he gets a second win there, he will have won both of his tournaments. So
that's right. Coming up from out of nowhere, up the ranks.
Yep.
To dominate.
Yep. I love it. Actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where things stand on the Fantasy Oyakata. We're having a lot of fun here.
We are indeed.
Shame more of you didn't come and join us, but there's always next tournament.
Sorry, you have to watch from the seats. Just don't be throwing your cushions around in frustration, and we'll be ready next time around. And you just gotta.
You know what? Don't pick Shodai.
Don't pick Shodai. Do not. Yeah. Fun. Okay.
All right. So come back here, and it's back to me again.
Hello.
Me. All right. So we will be back. If everything goes well, we'll be back on Friday.
Yeah. The same 7 p.m. time slot.
Yes.
We have taken the 7 p.m. that we reserved for ourselves for the Sunday production. All this. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like a Sunday well spent.
I mean, in theory, we could do this next Sunday for the final. Oh, we can talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about it. We might. Yeah, I didn't really think about that, but it's the only conflict is us talking
It's
sumo.
us. The only conflict is us.
Yeah, well, some good sumo. I'm looking forward to keeping my finger on the pulse and doing some more sumo sleep therapy.
Yeah. How about just watch each day?
I could do that, but I like to do it different, Stan.
I know that about you, Troy. I know that about you.
Yeah. I take the path never tread. But awesome. Okay, great. Well, so we'll keep folks posted on the Friday versus Sunday.
Oh, here's a piece of news that I've been meaning to bring up. Hokuto Fuji.
Yes.
Remember Hokuto Fuji?
I do indeed.
He is retired.
That's right. He retired. I saw that. I did see that.
And the thing that I had forgotten about is that their Heya, Isagahama Heya, is the one that Hakuho, the ex-Hakuho, has been put under for his retraining. And that Isagahama Oyakata has to retire. He's reached maximum mandatory retirement age after this tournament.
Yeah, and he our retiring pal, he had loaned his stock to somebody and asked for it back. Like as an indicator of what the future holds.
Yeah. So there's a question. There's one of the big questions that's going around is who is going to take over the stable when this guy retires. It's not actually. I think it's in June. It's whenever his birthday is coming up, sometime in June, before the next tournament. But there's been no public statement about who is going to inherit the stable, and it could be Teruno Fuji. There's a lot of talk about that. It could be Hokuto Fuji, but it's usually at this point, particularly with such a prestigious Heya.
Yeah,
it's usually known. It's the guy's son. It's this coach that he's been working with for years and years. Even if it's like this guy will take over it until this other guy retires, and then he'll take over it.
Right.
It's usually known. And in this case, we don't know.
Very interesting. So there must be something going on. Yeah.
And there's still a lot of there's been a lot of talk about Hakuho being allowed to go back and reopen his stable. And if this guy who has been put under to train is retiring, are they going to suddenly make Teruno Fuji is going to be the guy that has to train Hakuho as a coach when he's 2 years or 3 years less experience as a coach?
This is this is a thing to be watching, right? Yeah. Because all of the shadowy organizations clearly are going to be at play. Everybody's doing the game, and very interesting. It's silly, but it's serious, and it's but it does feel a little housewives.
It's very political. I mean,
it's
political.
Yeah.
So that's something that's going to happen, and we got a tournament to watch. But this is the red meat for between tournaments.
Very interesting. Well, yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that, and of course, everyone will be dying to hear what we think.
I'm sure. Oh yeah. Oh, they'll be lining up.
We're gonna blow the lid off this conspiracy. Yeah.
All right. You got your drums?
I do indeed. Here we go.
You have been listening to the Sumo Show, a live podcast about the art and sport of sumo. Your hosts tonight have been Stan Brown and Troy Hewitt. Production by Troy Hewitt. Sumo Liering. by Stan Brown, an initial charge by Touchy Eye Troy. So until next Friday, we say to you, ciao matane.
Bye.